Has to be one of the best action movie lineups of all time. And our next guest is one of the stars of the film. You know him as the natural Randy Couture in Vancouver for the Expendables and also UFC as well. But we're going to start out with the Expendables. How are you, man?
Good, real good.
Oh, it's nice to meet you, Randy. My friends were ridiculous about me meeting you. It's got to be a pleasure, and I can tell how much you enjoy it. Just getting out there and sort of meeting fans and just having that experience and that interaction. You really seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's one of the best parts of my job is that I get to meet a ton of people, and I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, okay, this movie, I asked you just before we went to air if you had seen it yet. You haven't seen the final cut.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I missed a couple of the pre-screenings, and so I think I'm going to hold out now until the premiere.
Are you pretty excited?
Yeah, absolutely.
The lineup, when you look, and you've done some acting, but the lineup in this is just bizarre. So what was it like on set? Because, you know, you've got these guys that are huge action stars. They're all in ridiculously good shape. What's it like when you get all these guys together?
Yeah, I think there was a kind of a special electricity when all the Expendables came together for scenes, and especially the first couple times. Everybody was like, oh my God. You know? And it's one of those deals where you pinch yourself. It's like, is this really happening?
Yeah. Any one-upsmanship? Anybody?
No, it was all good. We all got along great. We had a lot of fun. You know, telling jokes and goofing off, so it was fun.
Did everybody do their own stunts? That's what I'm curious about. Or did
everybody I saw?
I'm thinking you walk into that room and you don't want to bring a stuntman with you when you're walking in there, and everybody else.
There are some things where you do have a double that fills in and does some things, but
and sometimes there's people don't realize this in films. There's insurance issues as well. I mean, you can't have one of your lead actors or one of your main actors get hurt doing. Sort of
how do you finish the film then?
Yeah.
So there are some of those issues, but all the guys were very physical and did a lot of their own stuff.
Yeah. And how much are you enjoying acting? Because I mean, you got into this a while ago, and you've sort of been building up to different things. So is it something you're starting to take a little more seriously and put more time into, or is it just sort of a side?
I kind of, right from my first exposure to it with Cradle to the Grave with Jet Li. Kind of thought, you know what, this is very intriguing and interesting, something I'd never been exposed to, and started taking classes right away, got a real agent right away, and it's taken me 5 or 6 years now to kind of get better parts and be looked at and considered more seriously as an actor than just an athlete who's trying to do this.
Well, and what a blast when you get to work, with Jet Li again, and you sort of see each other, and it's like, that's the thing with film, right? You see everybody, you have this really intense, and then everybody sort of jets off and you don't see each other very often. So it's got to be a pleasure when you see him on set again and get to catch up. And
absolutely. It's
see
fun.
What's going on. Okay, got to talk about UFC 115. You're in Vancouver. I'm going to ask Chael Sonnen the same question, but do you enjoy watching the fights? Do you enjoy watching the other guys go in there, or is it tough?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the sport. I love to see other guys' approaches, technique and tactics and what they're doing. I'm one of those guys you don't want to sit next to because I'm gyrating around and definitely you got to be.
You put the guy beside you in a headlock.
You definitely have to watch for the elbows, but I enjoy watching the sport.
Well, and you've got, of course, Extreme Couture, one of the top, I think, fight training facilities in the world, and you've got 4 guys from your team in this event. Does it take on special meaning when you've got a guy in an event and you see him coming out and you know some of the process he's going through?
It's fun for me to see the guys kind of flourish and see them train, get to kind of be a part of that, and I get way more nervous for that than I do my own fights.
Well, and this is a bit of a trip because you've got Dunham and Griffin are fighting each other in this one. Has this ever happened to 2 of your fighters?
It has. We had Johnny Hendricks and Sodala fight, and then Sodala turned around and fought Baroni, who's another guy that trains at the gym. So it's happened a couple times, and I'm sure it won't be the last time it happens.
Yeah. Do you guys is it something that you talk about or do the guys just sort of get about their business and
Yeah, they sort it out. It's never drama. This time, Evan's like, look, I know we're set up to fight. This time I'm going to do my training camp up at Team Quest in Oregon so that we're not in the same space and all that. It was a little bit more difficult with Baroni and Sodala because Phil's just a little more emotional. And, they were in the gym at the same time a couple times, and there was a little tension there. But, some of that was just Phil and the way Phil's wired. So it all works out. It's all good.
Fascinating stuff. And you've got your fight coming up in August. It's close to when the film opens, too, isn't it?
Film opens the 13th, and I'm fighting August 28th, so August is a big month for me.
Any thought going into that, or is it just something that kind of came together?
It's just the way it worked out.
Boy, that's pretty nice, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, sort of work everything. Okay, so you're going up, and I guess the first place that I want to start with you is you've been in the sport for a long time, and I know there's always talk about, it's unusual to see a guy achieving on such a high level in, sort of mid to late 40s. What keeps you going? What is it that sort of drives you to get back in the ring and keep fighting?
I think just a passion for the sport. I'm having a blast. I'm having fun. I'm getting to do and still compete at what I love to do. And it's that simple. My body's held up well. I'm still getting better as an athlete and a fighter. And as long as that continues and they keep wanting to see me compete at this level, and why not?
Do you take it fight by fight? I mean, I know you sign contracts that are 5-6 fight deals. But,
yeah, I always
but do you have to assess it after each one and say, okay, well, how am I feeling? Do I want to do this? Do I want to train this hard?
I think you set benchmarks for yourself, certainly in training and in competition. I started out entering this sport 13 years ago on a whim to see what would happen, and just started taking it one fight at a time, and that's kind of gotten me down the road.
How was that first walk into the arena? What was it, UFC? Was it 13?
Yeah, UFC 13.
What was that like? I mean, did you know anything about what you were experiencing?
I had no idea. It's been about 5 days really kind of learning what ground fighting, jiu-jitsu and all that was, and had no striking training at all. I was purely a wrestler, and you weren't sure if you wanted to pee yourself and run out of there or go into the cage.
I can't imagine what a sort of life-affirming moment that is when you hear your music start and you've got that second to go, I gotta go. I gotta walk out.
Yeah. It's very surreal.
Does it change? I mean, sort of as you go along and as you evolve as a fighter, does the way that feel ever change, or is it always that sort of same sensation of, a little bit of fear, a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of, just excitement as well?
There's certainly some familiarity there. You become more accustomed to that feeling. It starts to feel like home, but there's no time in your life that you'll ever be more alive than that particular
your
moment.
heart rate.
You can feel every hair on your body. So.
Well, and high-fiving people, and I think this is, there's so many elements that go into UFC that I think make it a really special sport. And part of that is, the ambassadorship that almost all the athletes show, the interaction with the fans, and that goes right into the arena. I mean, when you're walking out there and you're taking that time to high-five people and they're yelling at you and stuff, I mean, that's got to help. It's got to feel really good to...
I think something unique to our sport. I think because we're, for a long time, so largely misunderstood, and they thought we were thugs and criminals, and our sport was barbaric, and now we've gained a lot of mainstream acceptance, but our athletes are still in that mode where, we're trying to be accepted, and there's a camaraderie there amongst the athletes and a camaraderie with the fans that you don't find in a lot of other professional sports.
Well, and you've spent your entire career being, an ambassador for this as a sport. So it's got to be really gratifying seeing that people are starting, they get it. They understand that this is a skill set that people have that very few people can do, and is really worth watching, applauding, and learning to appreciate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think once the average person gets over their initial impression and what they see at face value.
People are going to get knocked out, man. Like, it's going to happen.
It's a contact sport, and maybe it's not for everybody, but I think once you tune into really what's going on, the tactics, the technique, all the styles, all the things that can happen in a fight, people are hooked. They love it.
You know, when I knew that it was going to be a huge sport, about 3 years ago when I was watching with my wife, and she just started yelling, he's going to get an armbar! He's going to get an armbar! And I went, wow, my wife just said armbar, man. You guys are going off. Well, I can't explain what a huge pleasure it is for me to meet you, and you're a real gentleman, and I appreciate your time. And best of luck with your fight against Tony. And we didn't even talk about that much, but it's going to be interesting to see you go in there against a boxer. Finally, a boxer. That stepped up. You looking forward to it?
A lot of fun, absolutely. It's going to be a great fight.
Well, thank you very much. The Expendables opens up, of course, in August 13th, and UFC 118 with Randy Couture versus James Toney, August 28th. You want to check this one out. It will be available, of course, on pay-per-view, and we'll give you lots of warning about that. And UFC 115, if you don't need any warning about this, Liddell versus Franklin is happening tomorrow night, Saturday, June 12th. You can go to shaw.ca for information on how to order. We're going to come back in a second with our next fighter, Chael Sonnen, another guy who has a reputation of being a total gentleman and pretty much speaking his mind. So we'll have a great conversation with him right after this.